Hey, it's your guy Tyrrell back with the interviews. In today's video, we're going to briefly analyze a weak area Arsenal can target against David Moyes' West Ham. So in today's video, first we're going to focus on West Ham's shape, then we'll shift to their issues down the right-hand side, and lastly we'll focus on Arsenal's shape heading into the game. So when we break it all down and we do look at the board, we have West Ham in a 4-2-3-1, and we've witnessed them interchange personnel throughout that front four due to the fact that the roles don't really change. It's just about what the personnel offers. That's specifically in regards to up front, where Antonio and Scamacca are different types of strikers. Whereas when you look to the three just in behind the striker, the wide players are often inverted, so they're looking to cut in towards their stronger foot to get shots off on goal, and that creates space for the fullbacks to provide the width and push forward higher up the pitch. That results in either combination play, or they use the fullbacks to create shooting angles for them to cut across markers, and then rather than playing an additional striker in behind the center forward, we've seen Lucas Paquetá play just in behind Antonio or Scamacca, and he's been able to link play or ensure that they have a midfield trio if they're overloaded in that central area. You could also throw in Lanzini or Bowen or even at times Benrahma into that role, and that gives them the creativity and a bit more freedom to float across the pitch. But for the most part, West Ham have been that 4-2-3-1 team that have the wide players cutting in to get shots off on goal, the fullbacks pushing forward to provide width, and then they have Rice and Souček protecting the back four. And there are times where you see Rice and Souček breaking forward to join the attack and break in towards the box to serve as an aerial threat. However, the issue with having the fullbacks push forward to provide width is that if West Ham do lose the ball higher up the pitch, then that's where teams look to exploit space in transition. In one of West Ham's final games before the World Cup, we witnessed Leicester City exploit that space in transition for both goals that they did score. And then when you look to the build up to their second goal, it was caught higher up the pitch, and they're able to break in transition down that side of the pitch and get Barnes to break forward, and he was able to capitalize from that space. In terms of West Ham out of possession, they drop off into two banks of four. They remain very narrow and compact, and most sides encounter difficulties bypassing them through the center of the pitch to create legitimate goal scoring opportunities, and often they resort to long shots from distance to test a goalkeeper. Therefore, when you break down where teams have been able to find holes in this West Ham backline, it's often been down the right-hand side, and the first avenue that they could see them looking to exploit is Bowen's high positioning. There are times where he does help the front two press from the front, but there are certain times where he's simply caught higher up the pitch, and that invites the opposing side's wing-back or full-back to push forward, and then that pushes out the right-back and forces the center-back to shift across to provide cover. In the case that Bowen is caught higher up the pitch and is bypassed down that side, that's where you see one of Rice or Souček shifting across to provide cover, or it forces the right back to step across, and that's where you see the right center back shifting over to provide cover in that zone, and that creates issues for West Ham. In some of these scenarios, that's where you end up seeing the opposing side looking to play balls into that gap between Dawson and Coufal, and that's where you get a runner breaking in or an underlapping run for a fullback to get on the ball. And while there have been situations where they've been able to recover from these positions, there have also been situations where the attacking player does get the ball in left half space or towards the byline, where they're able to play pullbacks across the penalty area or simply look to find teammates breaking towards the back post. And luckily for West Ham, in most of these situations, the attacking team have simply failed to convert or hit their target. The only real legitimate avenue that teams have utilized to bypass that West Ham center of the pitch is to have their midfielders drop deeper and get on the ball to clip balls over the top, or have one of the center backs playing long balls over the top of the back line, and that's where you see runners sprinting in towards that right center back right back gap to get on the ball, and we've witnessed them have success to test a goalkeeper. In this example, you witness Thiago dropping into his own half to get on the ball, and he clips a ball over the top into the path of Darwin, making a run in between Johnson and Zuma, and from there you could see Darwin bring down the ball as it bounces in beyond that defensive line, and he volleys it first time towards goal, and it forces the goalkeeper into a fantastic save. However, the other avenues to goals stemming from that right-hand side are simple. Against Crystal Palace in particular, whether it be from transition or open play, they were utilizing Cresswell's inability to stop wide players from cutting on towards their left foot, and then they were overloading Tilo at the right back position by getting runners across him and in behind him to play passes in towards that zone, and they were getting into dangerous goal-scoring positions. Against Chelsea, you have a 2v1 overload against Coufal with Rice backing off, and from here you could see either Rice or Souček can can push over as there's no cover for Coufal, and that results in Pulisic playing the ball across the right back for Chilwell, and at the byline he picks out Havertz making a run across the center back, and from here Havertz guides a first-time effort beyond the keeper. And then if we stick with those overloads down the West Ham right back side, you can also make the case that Moyes' men do deserve some blame for ensuring that crosses aren't delivered in towards that area. In the build-up to Rashford's goal, it was Christian Eriksen who had the time and space to deliver a cross towards that area, and you could witness Rashford climbing over Tilo to nod his effort beyond the keeper. And then even against Wolves, although they didn't score from this chance, you witness Adama Traore having the time to deliver a cross in towards the 6-yard area, and you could see the overload between Dawson and Tilo, and it falls into the path of Diego Costa, who should have converted his chance from point-blank range. Here you witness Thiago at the halfway circle ahead of West Ham's 2 banks of 4, and he clips a diagonal ball into the space behind Bowen high against Virgil van Dijk, and that results in Tsimikas going in a 1v1 against Johnson, and you can see that an inverted run now drags away another West Ham player. From here, Johnson does a very poor job of closing down Tsimikas, and from this position he locates the run of Darwin and Firmino towards the penalty area, and he has enough space to deliver a superb ball over Zuma into the path of Darwin, making a late run in towards the penalty area, and he nods his effort down in towards the back of the net. Given Arsenal's ability to press cohesively as a unit from the front, it should be noted that West Ham have been put in positions where they play the ball out towards the right back, whether it be Tilo or Ben Johnson, and they have been dispossessed in that area, and then that has resulted in the opposition being able to break free with a numerical advantage to test the West Ham goalkeeper. In this example, you witness Dawson playing the ball out towards the right back, and it's across Eze, and when that first touch is slightly poor, you could see Eze shifting across to apply pressure. As that play develops, you witness Eze stepping in to win possession, and from here West Ham are in trouble. As we watch that play develop, Eze is able to break past the right back and slide the ball across Souček into the path of Zaha, and although Zaha has to reach out to receive the ball, he's now capable of taking a second touch across Dawson in towards the penalty area. He brushes him off with his strength, and he fires an effort beyond the keeper. And then the other avenue that teams have exploited is that when they get into 1v1s against the West Ham right backs, they've often had success breaking towards the outside, towards the byline, and from there they could play pullbacks or deliver crosses towards the back post. But there have been situations where simply the West Ham right backs haven't done a good job of closing out, and that has allowed the opposing side's attackers to deliver crosses towards their teammates in towards dangerous positions, and that has harmed the West Ham backline. Against Spurs, you witness Dyer in the halfway circle against West Ham dropping into a 4-4-2, and he clips a diagonal ball out to Perisic, making a forward run down that left channel, and here you have him in a 1v1 against Coufal, and as he carries the ball towards the right back, there's no protection, and he looks to cut towards the byline, and with his left foot, he takes the ball across the defender to gain a yard, and that's where he looks to pick out Harry Kane at the back post, and from this position, Kane nods the ball into the path of Cresswell's hand, and that results in a VAR check. Therefore, when you focus on Arsenal's shape, it all depends on the fitness of Zinchenko and Tierney. If one of them are available, then you could see Arsenal playing in more of a 3-2-5, with the fullbacks pushing forward to provide the width, and then Martinelli in that gap between the right center back and the right back. From there, he serves as a goal threat by breaking in towards the penalty area. He can make underlapping runs to get on the ball, and he can swap with the fullback if he occasionally wants to run at the defender. If it is the case that neither left back is available, that would see Arsenal potentially play in more of a 4-1-5, where they would have an inverted left back playing in that position, and because they aren't really attack minded, that would see Martinelli hugging the touchline. But even from that position, they could use the shuttler making runs forward to combine and get in behind that side, or they could simply have Martinelli consistently running at the defender, and from there, given the success of other teams, that could still be a legitimate attacking ploy for Arsenal to exploit. So as you can see, regardless of the personnel David Moyes deploys on the right side of his backline, West Ham's defensive issues from open play have predominantly developed in that area from various routes of attack, thus providing Arsenal an outlet to exploit at the Emirates.